Hey, bike riders! Welcome to MotorVibes, where we talk about all things motorcycles. Today's topic? Bikes that just sit in shops, not selling. We're looking at 7 motorcycles models. Dealers are struggling to sell. Some cost too much, some folks don't get, but all are stuck. Let's check out these odd bikes. Number 7. Ducati Streetfighter V4. A bike that's as much a work of art as it is a street weapon. This Italian stallion turns heads wherever it goes, but it's also turning away potential buyers. Let's break down why this beast is giving dealers headaches. At the heart of the Streetfighter V4 lies a 1,103 cubic centimeter Desmo Sedici Stradale V4 engine, churning out a mind-bending 208 horsepower in its base form. It'll rocket from 0 to 60 in just 2.9 seconds and keep pulling all the way to 170 miles per hour. On paper, it's a dream machine for any speed junkie. But here's where reality hits hard. The price tag. Starting at around $22,000 for the base model and soaring to nearly $30,000 for the SP variant, it's in a league that many riders simply can't afford. And that's before you factor in insurance, maintenance, and the inevitable speeding tickets. The Streetfighter V4 faces a unique challenge. It's almost too good for the street. With MotoGP-derived aerodynamics and more power than most cars, it's a track weapon in street clothes. But how many riders can truly exploit its potential on public roads? It's like using a flamethrower to light a candle. Maintenance is another sticking point. The desmodromic valve system requires specialized service, and those sticky racing tires aren't cheap to replace. Plus, the aggressive riding position isn't exactly comfortable for long hauls or daily commutes. Ducati's limited dealer network compared to Japanese brands also means finding service can be a hassle in some areas. And let's be honest, reliability isn't Ducati's strong suit, though they've improved in recent years. Despite these challenges, the Streetfighter V4 is an engineering marvel. For those who can afford it and have the skill to tame it, it's an unparalleled experience. But for dealers, it's a tough sell in a market where practicality often trumps pure performance. Number 6. Suzuki Hayabusa. A machine that once ruled the streets as the fastest production motorcycle now sits quietly in many showrooms. Let's dive into why this legend is having a tough time finding new homes. When it comes to specs, the Busa is still a monster. Its 1,340 cubic centimeter inline-4 engine pumps out a whopping 188 horsepower and 111 pound-feet of torque. 0 to 60, just 3.2 seconds. Quarter mile, gone in 9.6 seconds. These numbers are still impressive, even by today's standards. The latest generation launched with a price tag of $18,500, and that's where the first problem begins. For many riders, especially younger enthusiasts, that's a hard pill to swallow. You're looking at another couple grand for dealer fees, taxes, and basic gear. Then factor in those massive tires that need frequent replacement, premium oil changes, and insurance rates that'll make your wallet cry. But the bigger issue, the motorcycle market has evolved. Today's riders want versatility, not just straight-line speed. While Suzuki did add modern touches like multiple ride modes, traction control, and a quick shifter, competitors offer similar features on more practical platforms. Adventure bikes are booming, and sport tourers give you speed with comfort. The Hayabusa's styling, while modernized, still carries that distinctive bulbous look that's polarizing for many. It's like wearing shoulder pads in 2024. Iconic, but not exactly current. Plus, With increasing focus on emission regulations and fuel efficiency, a gas-guzzling speed demon isn't exactly trending. That said, if you've got the budget and the passion, dealers are more willing than ever to make deals on these bikes. Just remember, you're not just buying a motorcycle, you're investing in a piece of motorcycling history. Number 5. Kawasaki Vulcan S. Now, let's shift our focus to the Kawasaki Vulcan S, a bike that's been causing some head-scratching in dealerships. This middleweight cruiser was Kawasaki's attempt to blend modern sport bike performance with classic cruiser styling, but it seems to have fallen into a bit of an identity crisis. At the heart of the Vulcan S is a 649 cubic centimeter parallel twin engine, borrowed from Kawasaki's Ninja 650 sport bike. It pumps out a respectable 61 horsepower and 46 pound-feet of torque. The bike weighs in at a manageable 498 pounds wet, making it lighter than many traditional cruisers. With a starting price of around $7,399, it's positioned as an accessible entry into the cruiser world. So why is this bike giving dealers fits? Well, it's caught in a tricky spot between two very different motorcycle cultures. Traditional cruiser riders, who often favor the classic V-twin rumble and laid-back riding position, find the Vulcan S too sporty and modern. Its parallel twin engine, while smooth and efficient, lacks the characteristic sound and feel that cruiser enthusiasts crave. On the flip side, sport bike riders looking for a more relaxed ride often find the Vulcan S lacking in performance compared to what they're used to. Its power delivery, while adequate for cruising, doesn't provide the thrill that sport bike enthusiasts seek. The Vulcan S also faces tough competition from established cruiser brands like Harley-Davidson and Indian, which have strong brand loyalty. Many cruiser buyers are looking for that classic American cruiser experience, which the Vulcan S, with its Japanese sport bike DNA, simply can't provide. Kawasaki tried to address some concerns with their Ergo Fit system, allowing adjustments to fit riders of different sizes. But this customization hasn't been enough to overcome the bike's identity issues. Dealers often struggle to position this bike effectively. Is it a cruiser for sport bike riders? A sport bike for cruiser enthusiasts? This lack of clear identity makes it a tough sell in a market where most buyers have a specific type of riding experience in mind. While the Vulcan S is a competent and affordable motorcycle, its attempt to bridge two distinct motorcycle cultures has left it in a challenging middle ground, making it a bike that dealers often find lingering in their showrooms longer than they'd like. Number 4. BMW K1600B. A luxury touring machine that's giving dealers some sleepless nights. This German masterpiece of engineering showcases what happens when you throw everything but the kitchen sink at a motorcycle. But sometimes more isn't always more. Under that sleek bodywork sits a massive 1,649 cubic centimeter inline-six engine, producing an impressive 160 horsepower and 129 pound-feet of torque. Those numbers would make some sports bikes jealous. The engine is butter smooth, and the bike comes loaded with every piece of technology BMW could think of: electronic suspension, multiple riding modes, a 10.25-inch TFT display, and even an adaptive headlight. But here's where things get tricky: the price tag. Starting at around $22,545 and easily climbing past $25,000 with options, it's in premium territory. Add dealer fees, taxes, and accessories, and you're looking at the price of a nice car. For many riders, that's a tough pill to swallow, especially when Japanese alternatives offer similar features for less. The K1600B faces several challenges in the showroom. First, it's caught between two worlds. Too modern for traditional bagger fans who prefer Harley-Davidson's style, yet too heavy for sport touring enthusiasts. At 741 pounds wet, it's not lightweight, and that mass can be intimidating in parking lots or tight spaces. Maintenance costs are another sticking point. Those sophisticated electronics are fantastic when they work, but when something goes wrong, repair bills can be eye-watering. Plus, finding a qualified BMW motorcycle technician isn't as easy as finding someone to work on a Honda or Harley. While the K1600B is undoubtedly an engineering marvel, offering luxury car levels of comfort and technology on two wheels, it's proving to be a tough sell. Dealers often find themselves explaining why someone should choose this over a traditional bagger or a more conventional touring bike. For the right buyer with deep pockets, it's an incredible machine. But finding those buyers, that's the challenge dealers face. Number 3. Honda DN01. Now let's shift gears to one of the most unique entries on our list, the Honda DN01, produced from 2008 to 2010. This bike was Honda's attempt to create a new category, blending elements of cruisers, sport bikes, and scooters. But as we'll see, sometimes being too innovative can backfire. The DN01 was powered by a 680 cubic centimeter liquid-cooled V-twin engine, producing a modest 61 horsepower. But the real talking point was its automatic transmission system, called the Human-Friendly Transmission, HFT. This continuously variable transmission offered both automatic and manual modes, controlled by buttons on the handlebars. When it hit the market, the DN01 carried a hefty price tag of around $15,000. That's where the problems began. For that kind of money, buyers could get a much more powerful conventional motorcycle or a highly equipped maxi scooter. The DN01's design was polarizing, to say the least. Its long, low-slung profile and bulbous front end didn't quite fit into any existing category. It was too heavy and underpowered for sport riding, too unconventional for cruiser fans, and too expensive for scooter enthusiasts. Performance was another issue. Despite its futuristic looks, the DN01 was no speed demon. Its 0 to 60 time of around 5.5 seconds was underwhelming for its price point, and its top speed of about 120 miles per hour was nothing to write home about. Potential buyers were often confused about the DN01's purpose. Was it a commuter, a tourer, a cruiser? This identity crisis made it a hard sell for dealers, who struggled to explain its benefits over more conventional options. While the HFT transmission was innovative, many traditional riders were put off by the lack of a conventional clutch and gearbox, and those interested in automatic transmissions could find cheaper options in the scooter market. In the end, the DN01 was simply ahead of its time. It was a bold experiment that paved the way for later models like the NM4 Vultus, but its high price and unconventional design made it a tough sell. Today, it's a rare sight on the roads, more likely to be found in collections of unusual motorcycles than in dealerships. Number 2. Indian Scout Bobber. Let's turn our attention to the Indian Scout Bobber, a stylish machine that's been causing some unexpected headaches for dealers. This bike is India's attempt to capture the hearts of younger riders with a blend of classic American styling and modern performance. But sometimes, even a good recipe doesn't guarantee sales success. At the core of the Scout Bobber is a liquid-cooled 1,133 cubic centimeter V-twin engine, pumping out a respectable 100 horsepower and 72 pound-feet of torque. It's got that low-slung bobber look, with chopped fenders and a solo seat that screams attitude. The price tag starts around $11,999, positioning it as a premium offering in the middleweight cruiser segment. So why are dealers struggling to move these bikes? First off, there's the fierce competition from Harley-Davidson. The Scout Bobber often finds itself in the shadow of Harley's Sportster lineup, which boasts a more extensive dealer network and a cult-like brand loyalty that's hard to beat. Then there's the price point. While $11,999 isn't outrageous, it's significantly higher than some Japanese alternatives that offer similar performance. For many younger riders, the very demographic Indian is targeting, that extra cost is a tough sell, especially when they're often dealing with student loans and rising living expenses. The Scout Bobber also faces some practical challenges. Its stripped-down bobber style looks great, but it sacrifices some comfort and practicality. The low seat height and forward controls can be uncomfortable on longer rides, and there's minimal storage space. This makes it a tough sell for riders looking for a do-it-all bike. Indian's relatively limited dealer network compared to more established brands also poses a problem. Potential buyers might hesitate if they're unsure about service and parts availability in their area. Lastly, while the Scout Bobber's performance is solid, it doesn't quite match the character that some traditionalists expect from an American V-twin. It's smoother and more refined, which paradoxically can be a turn-off for those seeking that raw, old-school cruiser feel. Don't get me wrong, the Indian Scout Bobber is a beautiful, well-engineered motorcycle. But its position in the market, caught between tradition and modernity, premium and accessible, has made it a challenging sell for many dealers. It's a reminder that in the motorcycle world, sometimes being good isn't quite enough. You also need to find your niche. Number 1. Harley-Davidson Livewire. Let me introduce you to one of the most controversial entries on our list, the Harley-Davidson Livewire. This bike represents Harley's bold leap into the electric future, but it's been giving dealers more headaches than high fives. Let's break down why this groundbreaking machine is struggling to find homes. The Livewire packs some serious electric punch, a permanent magnet motor delivering 105 horsepower and 86 pound-feet of instant torque. 0 to 60, a blistering 3 seconds. Range, about 146 miles in the city or 70 miles on the highway. It's loaded with premium features like Showa suspension, Brembo brakes, and a 6-axis IMU with cornering ABS. But here's where things get shocking. The price tag. At launch, it commanded $29,799, making it one of the most expensive production electric motorcycles ever. Even with recent price cuts, it's still hovering around $22,000. For perspective, that's enough to buy 2 conventional Harley Sportsters with money left over for leather jackets. The Livewire faces multiple challenges in the showroom. Traditional Harley riders who love their rumbling V-twins aren't exactly lining up for a silent ride. The absence of that iconic potato-potato exhaust note is a deal-breaker for many. Meanwhile, tech-savvy riders interested in electric vehicles often lean toward brands like Zero or Energica, which have more experience in the electric space. Range anxiety is another major hurdle. That 70-mile highway range makes touring difficult, and charging infrastructure still isn't as widespread as gas stations. Plus, DC fast charging, while available, isn't as quick as filling up a gas tank. Then there's the identity crisis. The Livewire is too expensive for younger, environmentally conscious riders, yet too radical for for traditional Harley enthusiasts. Dealers find themselves in the awkward position of trying to sell a premium-priced, high-tech motorcycle to a customer base that often values tradition and simplicity. While the Livewire showcases impressive engineering and Harley's commitment to future mobility, its combination of high price, limited range, and departure from brand tradition has made it a tough sell in today's market. That's our rundown of tough-to-sell bikes. Remember, today's dealership headache could be your dream ride at a great price. Thanks for watching at MotorVibes.